the UFC conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Mr. Dave Lockhart. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. This is Dave Lockhart, UFC Director of Public Relations. Welcome to today's UFC conference call featuring the July 7th UFC Fight Night, Dos Anjos versus Alvarez main event fighters, Rafael Dos Anjos and Eddie Alvarez, who will compete for the UFC lightweight title, and UFC 200 featherweight fighters, Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar, who will compete for the UFC featherweight interim championship on Saturday, July 9th at the inaugural event at T-Mobile Arena. Both events will take place as part of the UFC's International Fight Week activities in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now I want to get things started, so I'm going to turn things over to the call center to open it up for questions.
Thank you. If you would like to ask a question, please signal by pressing star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, press star 1 to ask a question. Our first question, Kendrick Johnson with TheRingTV.com. Your line is open. And your first question comes from Jim Edwards with Air Sport.
Hello. Hi there, gentlemen. It's Jim Edwards here. How are we? Obviously, can I start with Jose Aldo, please? Jose, last year, when Koi belt, do you believe that is what you and Frankie are going to be fighting for next week, or do you think it holds more value than that?
Ano passado, quando o Conor ficava andando com aquele cinturão inteirinho, você falava que era um cinturão de brinquedo. Você acha que vão lutar por um cinturão de brinquedo agora contra o Sem Quebras? A gente luta pela próxima chance de estar o cinturão. Acho que eu era merecedor de fazer uma revanche direta, mas isso não aconteceu. Então, o cara que fosse próximo não ser campeão. We're really fighting for the next title shot. I thought that I deserved to get a rematch, because this is the next step for me to get my belt back.
Okay, good stuff. Next question is for Frankie Edgar. Frankie, obviously you guys have already fought now, and what do you think you're going to do a bit better when you kind of meet Jose next week?
Yeah, I just feel I'm a much more improved fighter since then. My confidence has grown. My team's gotten better. My coaches have gotten better. Just coming into this fight, I'm coming on more of a momentum. Last time we fought, I was coming off 2 close losses at lightweight, and definitely it was a tough time. So now I just feel the time's right for me, and I'm just excited to get my hand raised.
Yeah, and just kind of a bit of a follow-up on that. I remember a few months ago you were saying that you were kind of feeling a bit sick, that you were being the company guy and not getting your dues. How do you kind of feel now, a few months down the line, when you've kind of got this fight now, and potentially an even bigger one at UFC 205?
Yeah, I'm just playing the cards that I've been dealt. As long as you go in there and take care of business, things are going to get done. May take a little longer than I like, but as long as I handle what I have to handle, I'm going to get what I want in the end.
Great stuff. I'll move on to Rafael Dos Anjos. Rafael, the build-up to this fight is obviously very different to what it was potentially going to be for Conor. Where it was a bit more spiky, there was a bit more back. This time around with Eddie, it's a bit more low profile. It's a bit more, there's obviously a bit more respect between you guys. Is that what you prefer, or do you kind of prefer getting a bit more motivated with a bit more back chat?
For me, doesn't matter. I need to do my job. Depends how much doesn't matter how much I will get paid, and my job is go there and defend my belt.
whether against Eddie Alvarez or Conor or whatever, against who, doesn't matter for me. I will do my job, go there and defend my belt.
Great stuff. And just last question for Mr. Eddie Alvarez. Eddie, you were saying earlier this week that you're going to enjoy being the underdog walking into the fight, but are you feeling any pressure at all? This is probably the biggest fight of your career, no doubt.
There's always pressure, but the pressure is really about me putting the pressure on myself to perform at my peak. I know how to go out there and do well. So it's really about just going out there and performing like I do every day at sparring and put my best out there. When I do that, I beat everyone I fight. I beat champions my whole career. So I'm not feeling any pressure other than just wanting to go out there and do my best. And everything else will speak for itself.
Great stuff, gentlemen. Thank you all. I'll see you next week in Vegas. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
And our next question comes from Kendrick Johnson with RingTV.com.
Yeah, for Frankie, Frankie, with you being so close to making history, would you say this as a legacy-defining fight? Would you be in chance to be in line behind BJ and Randy Couture to be two guys belt champion?
I mean, every fight adds to your legacy. Obviously with the implications of being a two-division champion, it kind of holds more weight. But I'm not really worrying about, legacy is something you worry about when you're down the road and you're thinking about when your career is over. I'm just worrying about, making it happen and getting what I want. And, this interim belt is the next step to holding the real title.
And with the chance that Conor may not come back to 145, do you think that this would be this kind of for the real belt?
It very well could be. If he doesn't come back down, I mean, it has to become the real title, the real belt. If the champion doesn't defend it, I guess that, me and Aldo are two best guys in this division. So, yeah, this would be the real belt. But I'm not really worried about that. I mean, I just got to worry about winning this fight, and then we'll decide what happens with the belt.
Okay.
All right. And my next question is for Eddie. Eddie, with you being, like you said, you've been champion in a lot of different organizations. Would this be the biggest accomplishment of your stellar career?
For sure, man. UFC, it's the best organization in the world for MMA. The most followed. Most eyes are on the UFC title. It's the only title, one of the only titles I didn't hold. But for me, it's the same exact formula. Go to a promotion, beat the best guys, get my hands on the guy who has the title, and win the title. Nothing changes, and nothing will change July 7th. It's going to be the same formula, same thing happen. Beat the guys in front of you, get a hold of the champion, and then I'll get my hands on that belt.
Would this be something to define your legacy as well? Getting that belt, that puts that exclamation point for you?
Yeah, I don't even like to say the word legacy. It's like it's a weird thing. The goal for me is the same as it was day one when I started this, to beat the guy in front of me. Legacy and all this other stuff is nonsense. I just always want to beat the guy in front of me. That's always the goal. Everything else is, it comes as a byproduct of doing that.
All right. Good luck next week, man. And my last question is for Jose. Is there anything different in training to get over what happened last time? Or is it just business as usual, you sticking to the routine that helped get you the belt in the first place?
Tem alguma coisa que você está fazendo diferente no treino para se recuperar da última luta ou continuar a rotina de treino, que é o que te levou ao cinturão? Não, eu mudei. Eu tentei dar uma mesclada e voltar um pouco quando eu treinava antes. Eu usei bastante a luta em pé, a luta agarrada também. Então, eu fui campeão assim dessa maneira. E procurei cruzar essas duas modalidades. No, I switched up my training a little bit, try to go back to what won me the belt in the first place, giving a lot of priority to my stand-up and my grappling and just going back to what I used to.
And last one, are you expecting an award like you had with Frankie the first time?
Eu espero uma guerra que nem foi com o Frank a primeira vez. Sim, né? Acho que são dois atletas muito experientes. e habilidosa em todos os quesitos, mas vou muito bem treinado. Se eu tiver oportunidade, eu vou acabar absolutamente não. Vou estar preparado para os 5 rounds também. Yes, of course. We're both 2 experienced athletes, and we go at it, and I'm going to be ready for 5 rounds, but if I can finish it earlier, I definitely will.
All right, thanks. Good luck to all the fighters.
Our next question comes from Akalish Ganarapu.
Hey guys, greetings from India. My first question goes to Dos Anjos. Rafael, you're obviously a high-level BJJ practitioner and one of the dangerous fighters at 155. So can you tell us what you think gives you the edge, physically or mentally, against Alvarez going into the fight night?
Yeah, man. I'm very confident in the training that I've been, on my work. I've been training so hard. I feel that I've been improving a lot, and still have a lot to improve. And I just feel that I'm so confident because I feel that I have more weapons. And Alvarez, he's a tough guy. He's a tough opponent. But I just feel it's my time. I just feel I have more weapons to win this fight. My stand-up is better. My wrestling is better. My ground game is better. And I feel great. I'm so confident, and I can't wait to get the W on July 7th.
All right, fantastic. Now also talking about Eddie's durability, you're on a 5-fight win streak and were particularly impressive in your last fight against Cerrone. Now, do you think you can finish Eddie early in the fight, similar to Cowboy, or do you expect this will be a 5-round war given Eddie's durability?
Yeah, I go I know I have 25 minutes to fight. I will be patient, but throwing hard punches always. If I can get the finish before, I will. Like I always go, I'm looking for the finish always. But I'm ready to do 5 rounds too. I'm training for all situations, and like I said, I need to be patient. I have 25 minutes to fight, but for sure, if I have an opportunity to finish, I will take advantage of it.
All right, great. Now, your kicks have been one of your strong points. As everybody knows, you injured your left foot before your scheduled fight with Conor. So can you tell us if your foot is healed 100%?
Man, foot's 100%, man. I'm kicking. I'm doing everything that I was doing. It was just a broken bone, but now once the bone is healed, I didn't have any ligaments, hurt, just bone. Now my bone is 100%. I'm kicking, stronger than ever. I spent 1 month in Singapore training a lot of Muay Thai. I kick a lot over there, so I'm ready to go, man.
All right, outstanding. My next question is for Eddie Alvarez. Now, Eddie, you've been a champion before, so the occasion might not get to you. Now, considering this is the biggest fight of your career, and with just over a week to go, can you tell us where you are mentally?
I'm having a great time. I'm back in Philadelphia with the team I started with Frankie Edgar and Mark Henry, Ricardo Almeida, and it couldn't be better timing. I think I needed to be with Mark Henry to improve upon some things, and I feel like the growth that I had in the past 5-6 months is growth that I needed the past couple years that I've just gotten, and even fighting for 13 years, understanding that there's still more to improve upon, it gets me excited, and I think that's what everyone's going to see July 7th is more that there's a lot more to me than what you guys already seen.
All right, fantastic. Now, also, you've previously stated that Dos Anjos' aggression might work against them. So how do you see this fight playing out?
I really don't go into fights with expectations. The only thing I really expect is that when things happen, I'll move correctly and do the right things. Like Dos Anjos, I I didn't finish my last 2 fights, but I'm a finisher. I have a high finishing ratio, and I feel like he feels a bit confident in his stand-up, and this could hurt him. I feel like I can catch him if he gets over-aggressive, and it can go bad quickly. So this is going to be highly explosive, violent from the very beginning.
All right, great. We can't wait for the fight. My next question goes to Frankie. Frankie, firstly, what are your thoughts on the fight being for an interim title, considering you've been lobbying for a title shot for a long time?
Yeah, it's just what it is. Obviously, I wanted to fight for the real title, but this is the next step to it. This is the first step to get to that title, actually, and it's a chance at redemption. Also, Aldo does have that win over me back from 2013, and if I take care of this, I know I'm going to eventually get what I want.
All right, fantastic. Now, recently, Conor's coach recently talked about you two meeting in New York and hoped that you would defeat Aldo. Now, not looking past your upcoming fight, what do you make of his comments and the prospect of finally getting your hands on Conor?
Yeah, obviously, July 9th is first and foremost, and my hands are full with Jose. But that is a goal of mine, to fight Conor, because he does have the title, the legitimate 45-pound title. And to fight in New York would be amazing. I've been trying to fight there for I've been lobbying with UFC, getting a sanction in New York, and now that it is, that'll be a dream come true.
All right. My last question goes for Jose. Now, Jose, you've been out of action for nearly a year. Now, do you think that is a positive thing going into the fight?
Você está sem lutar agora há tempo. Você acha que isso é uma coisa positiva antes da luta? Para te ajudar? Não, acho que não tem pouco tempo. Não vejo esse tempo todo, não. Geralmente a gente sempre lutou com essa margem de tempo. Só que, meu irmão, eu vim de 2 campos fortes e agora eu tentei dar uma recuperada, mas estou me sentindo muito bem. Eu acho que para mim isso não influencia, não. No, I don't think it makes a difference. So we're used to about this time between fights. I don't think it has been too long. But I was coming off 2 really strong training camps, and right now I had some time to recover, so I feel good.
All right, outstanding. Thank you, guys.
As a reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Also, mute your phone when you're not speaking. Our next question comes from Jack Encarnacio with the Boston Herald.
This question is for Jose. Jose, when you look back on the Conor McGregor fight, what do you tell yourself happened that night?
Quando você olha a luta com o Conor McGregor, o que você diz para você mesmo que aconteceu? O que você pensa? Eu nem digo, nem olho. Aquilo para mim já faz parte do passado, hoje em dia. Estou pensando que essa é a minha próxima luta, então eu não fico procurando ter o passado, ficar olhando, sofrendo pelo passado. Não, aquilo já passou, já ficou para trás. Enterrei, coloquei uma pedra em cima e eu procuro andar para frente sempre. No, I don't even think about it. I don't even really watch it. Right now my focus is all on Frankie Edgar. And that's really in the past for me. I've buried that and it stays in the past. I don't try to go back and look at it or anything.
So there's nothing about that fight that would be a concern against Frankie?
Então não tem nada daquela luta que seria assim alguma coisa para se preocupar com Frankie também? Não, é totalmente uma coisa diferente, não tem nada a ver um com o outro. Mas como eu falei, aquilo não vai me ensinar nada, aquilo já ficou para trás, né? Então eu procuro olhar o meu próximo adversário. Aí sim, a gente procura estudar, fazer tudo voltado para ele. Para mim o passado já foi. No, I think it's 2 completely different things, and I don't try to look at it like that. I don't think it's going to teach me anything at this point. Right now, I really focus on Frankie and studying him and looking at him and looking forward and not looking in the past.
Thanks. Frankie, question for you. Do you feel like you're fighting a diminished Jose Aldo in any way?
No, not at all. The only thing is he's coming off a loss that he hasn't lost in 10 years, so I'm sure he's just got some mental things to get through during his camp, and I know I'm sure he doesn't. No one knows how he's going to bounce back, and he's not going to know how he acts in there. But I'm expecting a highly motivated Aldo. I know if I lost the fight, I want to come in there and redeem myself. So I'm expecting the best Aldo. I always put my opponents on a pedestal, and I did help Aldo again.
Now, of course, you've gone through a fair amount of frustration looking perfect in the division, yet there's this moving target as far as the brass ring. But you've really, kept your cool publicly, which has always been your career MO. We don't really get a lot of the frustration coming out publicly. Could you give us a little glimpse into how privately you've responded to this division and how you've been, handling business in it, yet the real prize proves so elusive?
Yeah, it's just the nature of the business, and Conor McGregor coming in and kind of, putting the division on its head, calling the shots and whatnot. It's just, again, I'm just playing the cards I'm dealt. There's nothing really I can do about it. I can just win the fights and fight the guy that's in front of me, and that's what I got to do. As long as I keep winning, eventually I'm going to get what I want.
Our next question is for Eddie. Eddie, Dos Anjos has looked pretty lethal recently, as I'm sure you see and appreciate. Do you see yourself having improved, gotten back with Mark Henry and sharpening your striking and things, such that you're not going to absorb the kind of damage that we've seen you battle through in the past, or do you see yourself having to wade through a fair amount of damage to secure this fight?
I think being with Mark Henry, I'm fighting way more intelligent than I ever have. Sort of needed him a while ago. Thank God I got him now. But, I just think just doing things a bit smarter, a bit more efficient, gets the fights won. And as far as Dos Anjos' his other fights, my hat's off to him. He did really well against the guys he fought, but none of them are me. None of them guys are my style. None of them guys fight the way I do. And none of them guys fight with the spirit that I fight with. So I don't even look at them fights in regards to him or how our fight will go. It's just not me, and I'm not going to give a guy credit until I get inside the cage with him and we mix it up a bit.
Do you think the approach you took against Anthony Pettis makes any sense against Dos Anjos and his skill set?
I think however I attack Dos Anjos, whether we go to the ground, whether I decide to take him down or keep it standing, the fight will remain where I want it to remain. That's the approach in every fight. It'll be exactly where I want it to be at the time I want it to be at.
Thanks a lot. And finally, for Rafael. Rafael, is there anything in particular that you want to show off in this fight? Anything that you hope fans will take away from this title defense?
As you can watch on my previous fight, I always show up different, show up every time better. I never cancel any fight due to injury, but I had to cancel my last fight against Conor because of my foot. But man, I'm so motivated right now. I can't wait to fight again, and I can't wait to July 7th, put on a great show. And I don't want to prove anything, but I just want to get the victory. It's what I'm working for. And one thing I can tell, it's going to be beautiful. And I feel in great shape and very motivated. And, man, I feel in my best shape ever.
And last one, Rafael, of all the UFC champs, all the UFC champions, is there something you think you're the best at?
Man, I just work hard. I know I still have a lot of things to improve, but I can tell that I'm best in some point or the other. I've been improving my stand-up game a lot, but my wrestling too, my ground game. MMA is a tough sport. We need to keep improving all the time. We can't stop, but I feel that I've been improving in all the aspects. I've been working everything a little bit, and I feel that I'm improving everything. I feel I'm getting better. I still have a lot to improve, but I'm getting there.
Thanks, everybody.
Our next question comes from Dave Dybert with Post Media News.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for the time. Quick one for Eddie. When you came to the company a couple of years ago, did you have any expectations about how long it would take for you to be in this position, fighting for a title?
I never thought that I'd lose my UFC debut. That wasn't an expectation of mine. Unfortunately, that happened. So I could have done what a lot of fighters do and fight a top 30 guy and build myself back up. But it was important to me to stay with the same plan that I came here with and to fight the absolute best that the UFC had to offer. So I went to, instead of fighting Cowboy and then maybe going taking an easier fight, I fought the guy who was ranked ahead of him, fight Gilbert, who's number 3, then Pettis, who's number 1. And I just thought with that mindset, as long as I'm fighting the guys who are in front of me and beating them, that I couldn't be denied a title shot. So I think the strategy was correct.
Were you offered, after the Cowboy fight, were you offered someone a little lower down on the on the list, and did you decline that and say no? I want someone bigger, someone better.
No, I don't believe I was offered. I just think that's I know fighters, and I know how they think and how they feel, and that's what a lot of fighters do. They like to build their confidence back up and maybe get a big win against whoever it is. It's just not my style. That's not where I'm at in my life right now. Where I'm at is I want to fight the absolute best. I think we're defined by the people we fight, that we're defined by our opponents, and I want to make sure my opponents are always quality, good, and the best. And that's the only way I can legitimately tell people that I'm the best in the world.
Last one for you, just sort of along this line. 2 split decision wins. Have you taken any time, at this point, to just consider how razor thin, say you lose that split to Gilbert or you lose that split to Anthony. One little thing goes their way instead of your way. Maybe you're not here. Is that something that's entered your mind, even just in passing, as to, the margin between, top guy and number 10 guy or title contender, third on the card can be in the industry?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the only thing I know that's in my control is how hard I work every day, how much I improve upon my game. Everything else is in the hands of God. I really cannot tell you why I get these decisions, why this guy should have got it, whatnot. The only thing I can control is my performance and how hard I work. So I try to put my concentration on that and not too much in the result. And I just keep it like that, man. And I think the title shot's just been a byproduct of hard work and improving and years of doing this. So it's my time now.
All right. That's great. Thanks, Eddie, for the time.
Our next question comes from Damon Martin with Fox Sports.
Hey, guys. First question is for Jose Aldo. Jose, coming back into this fight with Frankie, obviously you fought him before, but what is the biggest motivation in this fight? Is it getting the title back? Is it earning a rematch with Conor? What is the biggest motivation for you?
Você já lutou com o Frank, vai lutar de novo. Qual a maior motivação no momento? É encarar ele de novo, ter o cinturão de volta, encarar o Conor? O cinturão de volta, para mim, eu só penso nisso, eu quero o cinturão de volta, então essa é a minha maior motivação. Não importa quem seja com o Frank ou qualquer outro adversário, mas o que motiva é tomar o cinturão. Getting my belt back, that's all I think about. That's my greatest motivation. It doesn't matter who it's with, if it's Frankie or anyone else. I want to get my title back. I want to get the belt back.
I know there's been a lot of chatter about Conor McGregor, whether or not he'll ever come back to 145. If Conor doesn't come back to 145, will you consider moving up to try to get that rematch?
Se ele não descer de volta para MMA, você considerava subir de categoria para encontrar com Conor? Para mim não vejo hipótese nenhuma. Como venho falando agora, meu próximo passo é lutar contra o Frank Edgar e vencer. Para mim o futuro está no futuro, então eu vivo o presente é esse, eu tenho que encarar o Frank Edgar e vencer. E quero ser o campeão de novo, é isso que eu tenho em mente. Para mim não importa quem seja que eu vou lutar, mas eu penso no agora. Agora o que eu tenho que fazer é conquistar o cinturão e me tornar campeão de novo.
I don't see that happening, but really I'm thinking about right now and in the future, and right now I have to focus on Frankie Edgar. That's who my focus is all on, and getting back on track to get my belt back. But I'm really looking forward to the future right now and getting that belt back.
And I know you had said in another interview, I want to say it was in Brazil, you made a comment about you beat Frankie with one arm the last time. I never got clarification. Were you injured in that fight? Like, could you explain that comment a little bit?
Ele falou que viu uma entrevista falando que você ganhou do Frank com um braço só, e não entendeu muito bem o que era, se estava machucado, o que era. Não, o que eu falei é que eu venci a luta, acho que eu tive muito mais domínio, tive muito mais toque nele, e na luta eu peguei, eu acho que entraram 3 socos só em mim, o resto eu conectei todos, então não vi derrota naquela luta, por isso que eu falei.
No, what I meant is in that fight, I felt like I completely dominated. I landed a lot more punches. I think there's only 3 strikes that landed on me, so I just meant that I completely dominated that fight.
All right. And kind of going to Frankie, kind of a reaction to that. Obviously, that kind of clarifies what was said earlier, but I just want to get your reaction to that.
You look at the strikes, it's not about what you think, it's about what's on paper, and I outstruck him, in 3, 4, and 5. Probably the whole fight I outstruck him, landing more takedowns. But, hey, this fight happened, it's in the past. We got to worry about July 9th.
And a question for Rafael dos Anjos. Rafael, obviously you are focused on Eddie Alvarez, and I don't want to take away your focus from that. But when you look at the list of contenders out there, I mean, are you excited about what the lightweight division is offering you right now with guys like Eddie? Obviously you have Tony Ferguson out there, Khabib. Are you excited about what this division is offering you in terms of opponents?
Yes, man, of course. It's always a new challenger. And it's not because I'm a champion, but I think it's one of the deepest division in UFC. And, man, I'm excited. New guys coming. And, man, whoever comes, I will make sure I'll keep my belt.
And I know you said that, when the Conor McGregor fight came up, it was never about the money. It was always about the challenge. You've always been about the challenge. But I have to ask, because this is out there, I know George St. Pierre had recently said that he could easily make lightweight. I mean, is that a fight that interests you? Because that would obviously be a huge fight, a huge money fight, or is it still just about the challenge?
Yeah, of course, George. I'm a big fan of George St. Pierre, and for me, it would be great to fight against my idol. And of course, man, it's a new challenger, and it's a big money fight too. Of course, if he can make it, I'm here, man. I will have the belt.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And as a reminder, to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1. Our next question will come from Sal Lara with DC Life.
Thank you. For Jose, what kind of mindset do you have going into this fight with Frankie now being on the path to get your title back?
Como é que tá a tua cabeça entrando nessa luta agora com o Frank, você tentando recuperar seu cinturão, não como campeão? Tá motivado, tá ótimo, acho que a vida é assim, então eu tenho que chegar lá dentro e lutar, que eu sempre fiz, então tá ótimo, a cabeça tá, graças a Deus, tá muito bem.
My mind is great. It's very motivated, and I got to get back in there and win fights like I've always done, and I'm back on track to get my belt back. My mind is doing great.
And one more for Jose. Now having seen Frankie fight at featherweight a couple times, do you see him as a different fighter than the first time you fought him when he was coming down from lightweight?
Já tendo visto ele agora lutar algumas vezes no peso pena, você acha que ele é um lutador diferente? Naquela última vez você não tinha visto ele na categoria. Não, continua para mim a mesma coisa ainda, não vi diferença nenhuma. A única coisa que ele pode estar hoje em dia é a adaptação ao peso. Aí sim, mais diferença nenhuma. Continua fazendo a mesma coisa, de novo movimento.
No, I don't see any difference. I still think he does the same things, the same moves. That I do think he might be more well adapted to the weight class, but I still see him do the same stuff.
Thank you. Frankie, do you think that Jose has evolved since that first time you guys?
No, I don't. He's a good fighter. I just think really hasn't evolved much. He's a pretty basic guy. What he does well, he still does well, and that's about it.
And now heading into this rematch, how has the camp been different from you with you and Eddie training side by side, both for huge fights?
Yeah, me and Eddie's been training since about 2007 together, maybe a little bit before that, and it's motivating. You see a guy across the gym working hard towards the same goal as I am. You definitely don't lose sight on what's ahead. It's been a long road for both of us. We've been at the top of our divisions at the same time, and here we are trying to get back to the top of our division. So it's definitely been motivating. He's in there working hard, I'm in there working hard, and so we have each other's backs.
Thank you. And Eddie, the same question. What's it like having Frankie by you side by side for this camp?
I'm ecstatic to be home and just back with the team that I sort of started with. Like Frankie said, we got together in 2007. I think at that time we were both training in a little small mat. So we both came a long way. Frank, UFC champion. I've also been champion at numerous promotions, but just working hard. Like Frank said, when you're having a day, maybe when you're not feeling it, you look across the room. He sort of gives you that energy. You know what I mean? You're able to look and gives you that energy, that extra boost in the rounds, in the later rounds when you're doing rounds 4 and 5, and you're feeling a little bit tired and things like that. A guy like him comes up and starts getting you motivated. It's real easy to pop up when you have other champions around you pushing you and wanting the same thing you do. So it's good to be in a room with like-minded people who are trying to take over the world as well.
Following the fights with Gilbert and with Anthony, did you have a moment to reflect on those, to think about, wow, these are fights that we were able to make happen, that fans had been arguing in forums over for years, so making these fantasy matchups finally come true? Did you have any kind of reflection about that after those fights?
I don't, man. I don't think much about my wins. I don't really care much about winning. I can't stand losing. I hate losing. So I think more about my losses than I do my wins. After I win, it's sort of forgotten about, no matter who the opponent was or whether it was for a title or not a title. I just look to grow and improve and see what's next. When my career's done, I'll look back and I'll reflect, but try not to look back too much on any win. I know one thing, my resume is incredible. I've always seeked out the best of the best, and I'll continue to do that until my days are done.
Well, playing on the losses nag you, what nagged you or bothered you the most about your performance against Donald Cerrone?
I think it was more of my own, my things that I was dealing with on my own. I think I let expectations of me that were placed on me by a whole bunch of people. I let them affect my performance rather than just go in there and let the fight be what it was going to be. I placed a lot of pressure on myself, on what was expected from the fans, expected from promoters, expected from everyone. So it's a lot easier now to go in there with no expectations, to enjoy what I do, what I love, and it shows in the performance.
Thank you. And then for Dos Anjos, I had seen an earlier comment from Eddie that said he believes that you will break under pressure. Tell us why that's not going to happen.
Do I really need to answer that question? That's not going to happen. I've been competing on UFC level for 8 years. I've been fighting the best guys for the last year. I have over 18 fights on UFC. You know, it's not gonna happen for sure.
We know everybody wants those big fights, those big money opportunities, and you had one, but unfortunately, due to injury, you weren't able to fight Conor McGregor. So, how disappointed were you on missing out on that just big money opportunity?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that, about money. Everybody like money. I like money, but I don't love money. You know, I don't love money. I fight because I like challenge. I like my life. You know, I like competing, and you know, but it's not just because of the money. Just because the fight was against Conor, I would make a big paycheck. It's not just because of that. You know, I got hurt. I couldn't compete. I invest a lot of time, a lot of money on that camp, and 2 weeks before the fight, I broke my foot and I couldn't show up. And just because of that, just because I didn't fight, not because of the paycheck.
Said you do it for the challenge. What's the most intriguing aspect of the challenge that Eddie Alvarez presents for you?
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez, man, he's a tough guy. He's been on the game for a long time, and he's on the guy on the line now. He's the next challenger, and I just go there, you know, and prove to the world, prove it to, to myself, you know, and show everybody, like how I work with my team, you know. These victories for my team, for my friends, and just show everybody that I'm the champion, and I'm gonna be with this belt for long years.
Thank you, everyone.
Our last question comes from Michael Owens with Fighters Only Magazine.
Hi guys, I just want to start with Eddie there. Eddie fought pretty much everyone all over the world. I was wondering if you thought there was anything that Rafael does better than anybody else that you've already faced.
I think Rafael, out of everyone I fought, is the most complete fighter. When I look and watch him fight, it's hard not to be sort of a fan. He does things quickly, violently. I like the way he fights. It's the kind of fights that I welcome. I like when guys are aggressive. I like when guys are mean and violent. It gets me excited, and it makes me move in ways always that I always fight up when I fight guys like this, and especially guys who are southpaw. So I am very anxious to see what is going to go on next Thursday night, July 7th, at the MGM Grand.
Excellent. And obviously his kind of offensive capabilities well documented. Do you think there's anything that you can possibly take advantage in his defense? His last 3 fights or so, he's just kind of put it on guys. But do you think maybe people are forgetting some holes that you might be able to exploit?
100%. Everybody has weakness. Everybody has holes. And I'm not the thinker. I'm not the thinker in this equation. Mark Henry does all the thinking for me. I'm the performer. I just go out and fight. And Mark has found every hole, every weakness that Rafael has, and he has helped me move in ways to exploit everything that we need to get the win and come on with that gold belt. I'm going to attribute a lot of this to the brains of Mark Henry.
Excellent. Thanks very much. And Rafael, going back to what I was saying about you kind of put it on your previous opponents so badly, but Eddie Alvarez is so famously durable. Do you expect him to be able to withstand a lot more punishment than the likes of Cerrone, Pettis, and Henderson?
Yeah, man, I think Cerrone is also very durable, and Henderson, he was never been knocked out before fight me. And man, I'm excited too. You know, it'll be a great fight. He's the guy walk forward. He likes to fight violent. He likes to walk forward. It's my style too, and it's gonna be a great fight. But I have no doubts that I'm gonna leave that arena with my belt back home.
Excellent. And do you feel anything different in this fight now that you are the only Brazilian champion left in the UFC? Does that kind of add a extra bit of pressure or anything going into this weekend?
No, man, not at all. Not at all. I'm just confident on the work that I'm doing, and I think a lot of Brazilian champions still to come. But I'm not carrying any extra pressure because I'm the only champion right now.
Excellent. And finally, lightweight's probably historically the strongest division in mixed martial arts, but you're a little way down that pound-for-pound list. Do you think an impressive finish should hopefully kind of raise you up a little bit, or do you really not care about rankings like that?
Yeah, man. I just, I don't look too much about rankings that much, I'm just go there, try to. I'm not looking to do extra hour on the octagon. As soon as I step there, I want to get out quick, And sometimes we finish, sometimes not, but it's not something that I'm looking like just to get raised up on the rankings, I'm just, my goal is go there and bring my belt back home to my family, to my team, to my friends.
Fantastic, thank you. And to Frankie now, is there any part of you that feels you're slightly getting overlooked on this card? Because on paper, this is a kind of a matchup between two of the top 10 pound-for-pound fighters of the past 5 or 6 years or so. Or do you think that's just kind of part of being such a huge fight weekend?
Yeah, this is, they say it's the biggest fight card ever. So many former champions, current champions, whatnot. I just have to go and make my stamp. The way the UFC is now, you have fights every weekend, and it's easy to get lost in translation. You put on a good performance the next week, another person puts on a great performance. So you got to make a stamp on it, and that's what I want to do. I'm going to go in there and put the best performance of my life, and stand out amongst the best. And if I do that, I'll be happy.
Excellent. And then going back to kind of the whole process that you've been over the last 6 months after your win against Mendes and getting denied that title shot, was there ever a part of you that was going to kind of wait before everything shaped out with Conor and Diaz and all that kind of thing, or maybe fighting Max Holloway or someone else in the top 5, or were you always just looking for a fight with a belt, any kind of belt involved, and that's all you really wanted to do?
Ever since I lost the belt at lightweight and had that loss to Aldo back in 2013, my mind has been nothing but on a belt. I mean, when I got into the sport, I wanted to be the best to do it and the best in my division, and that's kind of what I've had tunnel vision on that. So, yeah, of course, I wanted. I feel like I haven't fought as much as I wanted to because I'm always focused on the belt, trying to fight the right fights and navigate my way through the rankings or whatever. And it just seems that this is just what's led me to where I am now, and I'm one step closer.
Excellent, thank you very much. And same kind of question, Jose, about the kind of possibly being lost in the shuffle of this huge fight weekend. And if anything, do you think it's maybe an advantage that you may be flying under the radar, perhaps compared to the likes of Jones, Cormier, and Lesnar, Mark Hunt?
O que você acha, talvez, de estar meio perdido nesse fim de semana? Vão ter tantas lutas. Você acha que talvez é bom você talvez não estar tão no foco que nem o John Jones e Cormier e tudo mais?
Não, é bom. Estou no evento histórico. Quando eu lutei no Canadá também, a primeira defesa que eu fiz no UFC, eu fui com o mesmo evento. Então, para mim, não vejo problema nenhum. Eu estou dentro do evento, um evento histórico, vai ficar marcado para a história. Não procuro me ligar muito nisso, não.
No, I mean, it's a historic event. I mean, I wanted to be in this event. When I fought in Canada for my first title defense in the UFC, I was also the co-main event. So I'm used to that. I just want to be part of the biggest events and go down in history.
Excellent. And finally, I was just wondering if you think there's any kind of advantages to the time that you've spent off as well. You said you were kind of going back to your old style. How did that come about? Was that a kind of a conscious decision to kind of get away from something that you were doing wrong before?
Você falou que está voltando de volta aos estilos que te levaram ao cinturão. Foi uma coisa consciente que você pensou alguma coisa que estava fazendo errado? O que levou a essa mudança?
Sim, foi uma coisa que eu nunca quis ficar na zona de conforto. Eu procurei trabalhar coisas novas. E então eu voltei, parei, repensei e vi que, meu irmão, o que me levou a ser o campeão foi assim. Então eu procurei fazer exatamente aquilo que a gente vinha fazendo no começo. Acho que isso fazer a gente ser bastante agressivo e mostrar que a gente quer muito vencer a luta sempre.
You know, I never wanted to get in a comfort zone. I always wanted to be learning new things, and I just really sat down and I thought about it, and I looked at the things that I used to do that got me to where I went and got me to the belt and did all that, and I really got back to the drawing board and sort of redid everything that we used to do, everything that we did to get to that point.
Excellent. Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd now like to turn the call back over to Mr. Dave Lockhart. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. A reminder about upcoming conference calls this week. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, the UFC will hold a conference call featuring UFC strawweight champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk and number one contender Claudia Gadelha, who will compete for the title at the Ultimate Fighter finale, Team Joanna versus Team Claudia, Friday, July 8th. And UFC women's bantamweight champion Miesha Tate and number 4 contender Amanda Nunes, who will compete for the women's bantamweight title at UFC 200. On Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, our call will be with the main and co-main event fighters from UFC 200, including light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier and interim champion John Jones, as well as heavyweights Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt. We look forward to your participation on both days and would like to thank you again for participating in today's call. Have a great day.